Welcome to another edition of Making an Impact. Going to be a quick one because I'm kind of late on this. Been a busy day, so we're going to just kind of hop into this first match of the Crossroads special event on Pop TV. Featured LAX versus the Cult of Lee for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. I think all but one match on this special was for gold or silver, depending on how you want to look at these belts. These belts are shit, by the way. I've been saying it since they debuted them. They're just garbage, and I can't wait until we get rid of them. Bring back the old belts that we had from like 2007. That old TNA World Championship, the tag team titles, the X Division title when it was like a big, more circular belt was awesome. I love those belts. Fuck these new belts. So this was a fun match. I want to see more character development from the Cult of Lee. I think going into this kind of southern hillbilly party boy lifestyle kind of gimmick suits them. They need to do more of this, like more obnoxious kind of MTV culture type of gimmick. I think would be great for the Cult of Lee. I don't like the LAX as faces because they're literally drug smugglers, and that's not a thing that you should be advocating. But whatever. The match itself was a lot of fun. Uh, Ortiz did not like the fact on Twitter that I said Santana's a star in the making. I don't mean Ortiz isn't, but Santana's got the size, he's got the look, he's got the charisma, he's got the moveset. Like everything about him screams main event star. Ortiz needs some work. He needs to change up his image. He needs to change up, his style, his wardrobe, his moveset if he wants to be on that level. I don't mean to say that Ortiz is bad in the ring because he's not. He's very talented. But Santana has the added things necessary. So, by the way, big beards are played out. Everyone's got one. It's not a gimmick anymore. Get away from that. Find something to stand out with. Maybe wear aviators during your matches, or paint. I don't know. Paint the United States, or you just paint Alaska on your face. Like, do something that stands out. Like that's what you need to do to be a star. Good match though. This was solid stuff. All four guys can work pretty well. The irony of seeing Conan at ringside when he's actually undergoing another hip replacement surgery is just kind of like it's a tongue-in-cheek thing. Like this is filmed a few weeks ago, obviously, but good match. Good start to the show. They hit a sweet street sweeper. There we go. And I thought it went off pretty well. Good stuff. Nothing about it though I would say makes it a match of the year contender, but definitely solid wrestling if that's all you're hoping out of hoping for this to be. That's what this was. Then we get Mackenzie Mitchell talking to Lashley. Eddie's not there, but it's all right because he's walking Armageddon. He can do this on his own. We then get a flashback of the week to Monty Brown taking on Christian at Destination X 2006 for the number one contendership. No, was it? No, it was. When did this match happen? It was Destination X, so it should have been for the world title. That's what it was. It was for the world title. That's right. I was getting a little ahead of myself. I know Cage had beat Monty. I think it was Turning Point '05 for the number one contendership, but this must have been a different match. I said on Twitter, and I'll repeat it here. I think Monty Brown was the perfect wrestler for today. He's a character wrestler who's got real charisma. He's unique. His mannerisms help him stand apart. The alpha male, he's from the Serengeti. Like all that stuff really made him different. But at the time, he wrestled a style that was very normative. It fell into the line of what everyone else was doing at the time. But today, not so much. So Monty Brown's one of those guys like wrong era kind of situations. I like Monty Brown in retrospect, but at the time I have to admit I wasn't a big fan of the guy. Because at the time I was like, ooh, look at the X Division. That's how all wrestling should be. Shut up, Chad. You say stupid things. We see El Patron walking in, and we're like, oh, what's he going to do? Probably nothing. Then we get Matt Sydal versus Ishii Ishimori. Woohoo! Seidel had kind of done this little kind of like prayer kind of namaste nonsense prior to the match. He used kind of little promo. He's actually really developing into a nice heel. I like it. The match itself was phenomenal. This from the main event I thought was probably the best match of the card. Seidel ends up winning both belts. Very fun stuff. The Ishimori double knee tombstone is one of my favorite moves going. Seidel, though, hits a lot of great knee strikes, leaping knee strikes. He hit a leaping single knee strike, and then he came off the top rope with a dual knee strike that hit him in the shoulders for a 2 count. Eventually, he gets the shooting star press after a 450 splash was countered with knees up. Seidel's the messiah of the knees, I guess. Like 4 or 5 different moves in this match involved him hitting knees. I appreciated this. This was not a character-driven match. This was a showcase match. 2 great athletes going at it, and I appreciate it. By the by, I know Cage, Lashley, Johnny Impact have great physiques. Taishi Ishimori and Matt Sydal have phenomenal physiques, and this felt like physique off, and it really was kind of interesting in that regard. We then get Allie backstage talking about her upcoming Knockouts Championship match. She said that maybe a year ago, even a few months ago, I wouldn't have been ready for this, but now after some tutelage from my mentor Gail Kim, I could do it. And then she did it. This may have been, in terms of the athletical presentation, the weakest match of the night, but it was also the one that probably had the most character built into the match because Laurel Van Ness was still playing up this hot mess angle, and it really played well because Allie was having to overcome some of the mind games, had to deal with some of the stuff from that Laurel was doing after moves, like a lot of psychological stuff, and Allie was able to come back. Gets the win with a code breaker, a running code breaker. It was pretty nice. She gets the win. Was it a code breaker? I'm sorry, no, it wasn't a code breaker. That was only for 2. The finish actually was an Alley Valley driver and then a super kick. So there you go. Allie gets her second title win, but this is her first one that she's earned. So I think that's pretty cool. Big fan of Allie's. I like the character development through the arc. She started off very kind of ho-hum, like, oh, gosh, golly gee willikers, I don't know if I can do it. And now she's, the women's champion once again. And this time it felt earned. And this is how you build up to second title reigns. WWE has this fucking mentality. Once you win the world title once, like, who the fuck cares? We'll just throw it on you again whenever we want. And even the first time, it often feels that way. But here's somebody who already kind of had her quote-unquote moment like a year and a half ago. But they were able to build her back up, redevelop her character, give her another big angle to work through, and then boom. Her second title win feels more impressive than her first because it is. But also it feels better because it was, in the storyline it was earned. And this was great storytelling by both women. And while Laurel's heading off to wherever, I think Impact's in great hands because you got Taya, you got Rosemary, Sue Young, you got Allie. Like that's a pretty fearsome foursome. So I'm down with the future. Gail Kim congratulates Allie post match, and we're backstage with Mackenzie talking to Austin Aries, who essentially just hypes up his Johnny Impact main event match. I'm never gonna be a big Aries guy. In the ring, I think he's fantastic, but on the mic, as a character, as a personality, he's just very generic. He could have been so much bigger if he had stayed with Austin Starr, but he was so adamant against it. That was a great gimmick with a great name, with a great look, with a great personality, but he wanted nothing to do with it. And Austin Aries will always be known as a great hand who wasn't that marketable. Sorry, I said it. We then go back to Sami Callihan. He's talking about what he did to Eddie Edwards and getting to know his business and all that. And I love Sami Callihan, his new heel persona. Not new, but his new upped and anteed heel persona is fantastic. I dig it. So thumbs up to that. We then get OVE versus Lashley. The only thing I'll say about this match was, while it was very entertaining, I thought it was a little bit too even. One of the things I liked about last week's show was, Lashley and Eddie fell behind against OVE. The OVE against 2 former world champions, took them to task. But Lashley was able to take down both guys in OVE, not relatively easily, but far more easily than you would want for a top tag team to go down. It did set up the Brian Cage coming out, which I thought, if you had spent the entire match just OVE beating up on Lashley, and then Cage comes out with a little bit of Lashley offense in between, to pepper some offensive strikes to set up Cage prior to his arrival. I think you could have done a lot more with this. But Cage does come out, drops, I think it's Jake or Dave, Chris, I still can't figure out which one's which. Lashley hits a spear on Callahan, who tried to interfere and hit Cage with a bat. Cage ends up pinning one of the Chris boys, and there you go. Post-match, sees Lashley holding out his hand, but Cage like, nah, I'm good. So he leaves, and there you go. We then get McKenzie talking to Johnny Impact. He's hyping up the main event too, and that's the next match. And we go straight to the main event, and like, oh my god, it was good. I liked it. Again, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a match of the year contender. Maybe someone's gonna think that when we talk about the year-end awards, but it's not gonna be something that I'm gonna sit here and be like, yeah, best match ever. It wasn't, but it was good. It was very good. First time ever, to my knowledge, at least first time one-on-one. Johnny did, his typical parkour stuff, which I shouldn't say typical because I actually very much enjoy when he does it. I think Johnny's been doing his best in-ring work in Impact since joining the company. Aries, though, I know a lot of people like Austin Aries. I'm not one of them. And I so want Eli or even Johnny Impact or even Moose or Eddie to win the belt back because I feel like Aries is just one of these guys that I can't get behind. Like, his matches are good. They're always good. But so are about Alberto El Patron's matches, and I don't want to see any of those either. But here's how I kind of see the Austin Aries things. As long as fans are tuning in or are giving Impact praise because he's there, I'm fine with it. Because I want the company to do well. I really do. So post-match, the two men celebrate after Aries gets the win from a running drop kick into a brain buster. Then El Patron comes out, and he's teasing a match with Aries. And we already know that it's happening. It's happening on the live pay-per-view. What's it called? Redemption? That's the main event, Alberto El Patron versus Austin Aries. Patron's contract is up shortly after that. And then, there's, debates about whether or not he's going to be back to WWE. I hope he does, because I don't know anyone who likes Alberto Patron in Impact, and not even in the sense that people want him in WWE. I just don't know anyone who actually likes El Patron. I don't. Like, every fan I see is always saying the same thing. We don't want El Patron. Like, I see WWE fans like, no, do not come back. We don't want El Patron in WWE, and I'm just like, damn. Nobody wants this cat. So, yeah, that is what it is. There's also a rumor going around that Dorian Roldan of Lucha Underground and AAA, according to Dave Meltzer, said that he wants to buy Impact. Everyone I've talked to says that this is just him pontificating and running his mouth. He does this a lot. He says a lot of stupid shit. To the best of my knowledge, Impact's not for sale. Considering the last few months where they've actually been on an uptick, they've been doing all this work to get things going. I have a hard time believing that they're going to just kind of bail. By them, I mean Anthem. They're finally on the upturn. They're finally getting positive press, and now they sell. That doesn't make any sense. So I think what you'll see is more pairings with AAA and Impact, because Impact does bring AAA to the United States. So that's, I think, the extent of it. But, it's pro wrestling, so who the fuck knows at this point. Before we cut out for the night, I think we're doing our Twitch show. Twitch.tv/Real NerdCorp. ComicCorp, we talked about Roy being back on Arrow. Flash basically being an entire episode in less than a second is how it kind of shook out. Legends, we talked about how the Darks are the best part of the show. We talked about some Black Lightning and some stuff with that. We also talked about Dragon Ball Evolution, so you're going to want to check that out. We also talked about our poll list and all that, so check it out. WrestleCorp, we talked about Fall Brawl 2000, the last good WCW pay-per-view, so I would check that out if I were you guys, find out what we thought about that. And WrestleCorp on Tuesday, we talked about stuff. So yeah, just go check out the podcasts. You can find us on iTunes at NerdCorp by clicking on the link down below, or by finding us on Podbeam at realnerdcorp.podbeam.com, links of which, again, will be down below. Every show we do, except for this one and the Twitch show, are available via download, via iTunes or Podbeam. These two shows, this show and the Twitch show, are specifically online only. because I don't have a way of figuring out how to download it yet. Because we record them in different ways, and it's not the same through, because we record all the other shows through Mixlr, so it's one of those things. So that's where we're at for that. So find us on the website at realnerdcorp.com, realnerdcorp.com. Links to our iTunes, our Twitter, our Tumblr, our YouTube, our everything is on the website, realnerdcorp.com, realnerdcorp.com. And find us on Twitter at nerdcorp. That's our number one kind of update news. Here's what we've just posted on the site's source is the Twitter, so check that out and follow us there. So thanks for listening, folks. We will see you next week for another edition of Making an Impact. I am your host, Chad, saying goodnight once again and reminding everyone to always watch more wrestling.